You'll know when you have a wild woman. She'll practice her craft without boundaries. She is truly autonomous. Her loyalty is only to the family she serves, a midwife who will not allow herself to be held back by a system she didn't create.
This podcast is for the birth keepers who want to grow and change. We are open to learning through self-reflection and supportive community. We are creating this space to explore without judgment. We are remembering we were
Born wild. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Born Wild podcast. We're your hosts, Sophia,
Clover,
Leah,
Angela,
and Chelsea has refused to join us. She wants to get off his birthday.
So should we switch spots since you're
Because I'm louder? Yeah, we should do it.
Scoochie.
I realized too, maybe we should start saying Podcast Mondays.
Oh,
Podcast
Because people are like, it's Podcast Mondays.
Except that we release it on Wednesdays.
It's Podcast Wednesday.
It's Podcast Wednesday.
Okay, let's do check-ins. Clover?
Check-ins. Gosh, I don't know if I said the last time that I was thinking about working at the birth center, and then in between now and then, I decided not to work at the birth center, or at least work there after graduation. And I am gonna go apprentice there for my last 10 births or so, and hopefully get my license by the end of the year, the beginning of next year, or at least like take NARM.
So close.
So close. It's a little bit of a push. So I moved back to the East Bay, which is where my family is. And so yeah, I'm gonna be with Sophia for one more birth, which is gonna be epic. I've had lots of births recently. And yeah, other than that, I have this big ass jar of tea that I'm drinking to keep myself together, and yeah,
It's gonna be stressful.
yeah, there's like a lot
going on.
there's a
for
lot
you.
resting on this herbal infusion.
Well, and you moved to Oakland during the 116-degree heat wave.
Yeah, don't even ask me why
Yeah.
COVID decided to do that. That was not on me. But yeah, I'm happy to be in East Bay, and I am excited to still get to like do some skills and stuff with these ladies.
Sophia's check-in. Well, they don't know our voices. Maybe you know my voice. I don't know. They probably know my voice, huh? My check-in. What is my check-in? Do I even have a check-in? Oh God, we had to like move back into our old house.
What?
You don't even know
I didn't hear
this.
about that.
Oh my God. Okay, so the plan was that my parents were going to sell their house. We were going to sell our house at some point because we were a little ways behind them. So they found a rental near where my brother lives.
Right.
And we were like, okay, great. You guys move in. And we told this to the landlord. Eventually, when Sophia and Spencer sell, then they'll move in and then we'll look for a place together. It'll be like our little like landing spot. Everyone was on board. The landlords knew. And so then we were selling our house. It was going into escrow. And then they started doing inspections and was like, there's wood rot in the deck. And we're like, yes, we wrote on there that you're going to need to replace the deck. And we priced the house accordingly. But they wanted an extra like $50,000 off. And so we told them, bye-bye. So now all of a sudden we're moved into this house, but we're not in escrow. The house hasn't sold yet. We like take it off the market to recoup, like to recover emotionally. And in the meantime, the landlords decide that there's just too many people here. And we're not officially on the lease. So we were like, could we get on the lease? They're like, no, there's just too many people here. So they asked us to leave. So we
Well, at least you sold your house
I know.
to go to.
Yes, that's what we were thinking.
Yeah.
Like, okay, at least we
We
have a
could have
house
found
to go
another
to.
rental.
Sophia has a propensity for getting kicked out of places.
Right. So we moved offices twice, and now we moved our home twice. It was just like a little
And
much.
moving is super relaxing.
It
so,
is, yeah.
So your
So
cycle.
yeah, I'm just like my eyes twitching a little. No, my cycle came on time this time. That's good.
That's good.
So yeah, that's kind of our big update, I guess. What about you, Leah?
I don't feel like I don't know, there's not like much to say. I don't know. The heat wave was intense.
Mhm.
I bought a muumuu that I wore
Definitely.
without interruption for 5 days straight. I've gotten really into weaving. So I'm officially
I
like
saw your.
She's a
a
crafty lady.
middle-aged woman sitting there in my like caftan weaving. So that was
In
interesting.
Fairfax.
In Fairfax with my cat.
Mhm.
And my cat named Elvis. Yeah, I don't know. We filled up a birth tub in the yard because I had one that had been, it was fine, but it had been used for a lot of births. And I was like, it's time for this old girl to retire. So
One last hurrah.
one last hurrah. So I just filled it up with cold water and then we all would just do like cold plunges. It was awesome.
That's amazing.
It was great. And I sit outside in the evening with my neighbor and she's really cool. And then we would just like lift up our caftans and do a little dip and then get out. So yeah, I don't know what else is going on. I've had a little break on call when I'm back on, and December's going to be a little wild.
How many people do you guys have in December?
Between the two of us, because we're still finishing out our private clients,
Mm-hmm.
we have
Holy
like
fuck.
6.
5, 6, 7.
Okay.
But I'm not going to her birth. I'm just supporting her with birth certificate stuff. I take some clients who I see them prenatally and then they free birth and then I help them get birth certificate and postpartum.
But this
support.
is your clients too. Yeah.
Yeah, because I don't
Yeah.
know who that is.
Yeah, our fabulous new student Angela is moving all this stuff over into the new practice.
Yay.
Anyway, this is probably incredibly boring for our listeners, but busy December, which is going to be a lot of fun and just getting ready to do the practice, and it's all very exciting.
Yeah, we're putting together like, okay, we need a new separate PayPal and Square and Venmo and all the ways that we can accept money.
It feels like we're doing everything right.
Yeah. We're having somebody do our website and then we're gonna have somebody do our marketing and social media. Yeah, it feels good to delegate. And I love that we're in a space in our careers where we have the funds to delegate so we can just be midwives and play birth.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Birth time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm taking this small business fundamentals class for my final semester of Midwives College of Utah, and they had us do an assignment where they were like, what are 3 good business practices that you've like seen work? And so I've just been having to like compile all these lists. But yeah, I am curious, like, what are the business practices that you guys are like feel like are big wins, or like things that you do in your midwifery practice that are like business related that you feel like benefit you? Like I was thinking of, I love how Sophia always is super responsive to clients when scheduling interviews. I feel like we've heard from clients in interviews and initials that they're like, oh yeah, you just responded to me the fastest one.
Yeah.
And I know that you'll like schedule things late in the day and like, just kind of like pack your schedule in order to do that. So that was one of the things that I thought of, but I'm curious if there's other things that you guys are like, oh yeah, that definitely makes me more successful business wise.
Well, when like my first year being really busy was when I decided to delegate, like, because I was creating a new entity, because I had first signed up to be an LLC and then realized that midwives are not allowed to be LLCs. So I was like, okay, eventually I need to switch that over. So I hired, I think in 1 year, I hired a family lawyer because I wanted to do wills. And I hired a business lawyer to change my entity into an S Corp. And I hired a CPA and a bookkeeper. And I think those were like the 4 people that I hired, like get the business like dialed in right and like keep it like somebody checking in on it throughout the year. So that was a really great first delegation where I'm like, okay, the backbones of the business is solid and accurate. And then the second year of being really busy was about like social media presence and SEO kind of stuff, and like weeding out the things that I don't really enjoy doing. And then having students and paying them well so that they can do a lot of like office work kind of tasks and things where my time is better spent elsewhere and not there.
I think it takes a little while to realize like what are not your strengths. Like I realized like social media can be fun to do, but I'm just not like hashtag like
Mhm.
I would go through periods of time where I was really good about it. Like a few years ago, I was like just super on it. And I feel like I did get clients through that. Even if people like found my website, but then they would go to my social media and just like get a sense of who I was and my vibe and stuff.
Yeah.
But like I just don't have the time and it's not something that I enjoy doing.
Let's keep talking about this, but I just realized we didn't do Angela's check-in because you're
yeah.
kind of on the
I
floor
know,
in
we
the
didn't-
back, and I kind of forgot you were here.
All right.
Just
and
kind of blended in.
But it's a good
Right.
topic. But let's
Yes.
do a check-in first.
Oh, I don't really have a whole lot to say. in there.
Your hair looks awesome.
Oh, I
got
got
a
my
haircut.
hair. I got like,
but you're
I
not
don't
sure
know,
about it.
10 inches off.
we did our first appointment together,
We
right?
did,
Prenatal.
yeah.
I mean, you've done some with Sophia and I, but we saw one of our December people.
Yeah, I know that. Every time I leave Corinne, I wish that I made $1 to live there.
Mhm.
So I texted my brother's a mountain bike, and I texted him on the way over. I'm like, why can't I afford to live in Mill Valley? But yeah, I don't. Just momming, and I have a client, a doula client, who's due this week, and she's kind of having some issues with her OB. So I'm gonna get to chat that out with her tomorrow. Yeah, forced induction.
Yeah, what did so I have a new student who's going to be joining on in October, and she called me like once a month and be like, okay, I'm heading to a setup, induction.
Oh man.
I was like, yeah.
I knew what I was getting into when she said who her provider was. I've worked with him before, and he's the kind of guy who like shows up in cargo pants and like shorts, and like tell me when there's movement and when I need to be in here, and just pushing.
Wait, so what's that vibe? Like you said, I know the vibe, cargo pants. Like I'm like, what does that communicate? Like that he's like super prepared, he's too casual.
He's got pockets for everything.
Yeah, he was wearing like a hat, and he like kept his ball cap on like the whole time, and she was like pushing, and so he's got the whole gown on, but he's got this like camouflage baseball cap on. It's just a little odd. Like,
What city is this in?
in Walnut Creek.
Oh, okay, got
He's
it, got
not
it.
in
It tracks.
Walnut
It tracks.
So weird, yeah.
I remember a nurse telling me, I don't know if it was when I was a doula, but that like when they actually call the OB is like when you can see like a certain amount of the baby's head.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's like under the pubic bone or whatever, but it was like that's when you call the OB to come in, and if you call them before that, they get really pissed.
Oh yeah.
And I was like,
Yeah, what a
God, I
life.
mean,
Just to
jeez.
show up.
Yeah.
They get paid to put on a fancy gown
Mhm.
made out of plastic. That's like they spend more time getting dressed than they do catching the
Yes,
baby, right? They show up like 3 pushes and then they hand the baby the feeding.
Yeah.
God, I'm the wrong profession.
Just
Not
the
enough
OB.
money in the world.
Clover's like, well, that's exactly how Sophia is.
Yeah, totally.
It's different.
Tell me when this baby's crying.
Yeah.
Okay, but yeah, it was a good topic.
nice stuff.
So
Yeah, I guess like it was interesting to be thinking about all this, and then I got back on Instagram, which was a mistake. Someone needs to take my privileges away from me again. I just have no ability to self-regulate. But a woman that we met at the Reach Each Breach conference, Taysa, who's I think her Instagram handle is Mountain Mama Midwifery or Mountain Midwifery.
Is she in Tehachapi? Is it Tessa Curran?
No.
Oh, somebody else.
Anyway, she just started nurse midwifery school, and she was posting about just like, why can't midwives in California like band together and do like more sustainable group practices that are like more than 3 midwives, that are like 4 or 5 midwives, where they have rotating call. And she was just laying out this business plan or like kind of call model that I've seen be effective, that I think is really interesting. And she was answering like
but like different than a birth center, but kind of like a birth center, but in home birth, like in terms of the amount of clients that you're taking and the amount of people, of the amount of midwives. But she was also just answering questions from the people who followed her about like, who were non-midwives, about like, well, why, if you're charging this much, like how are you not making this much money? Like trying to like kind of break down why home birth midwifery is not always just like a super sustainable job, which I think is confusing for people and has been confusing for me as a student, where I'm like, okay, so I know that this midwife charges, whatever,
$7,000 per client and they take 5 clients a month. But somehow when I talk to them, it seems like they're still like really struggling to make it happen. And I think part of that is like being in the Bay Area, especially in the East Bay, where everything just costs a bunch of money. And if you have any kids, it's just a lot. But yeah, it's interesting to try and figure out where the money falls through the cracks, or like
I have 5 clients a month. I'm like,
I feel like the more you
struggling.
make, the more you spend, and that's where it is. Like if you were to really sit down and like have a really dialed out budget with these midwives, like they're spending
Yeah.
the money. You
Yeah.
know, it's going somewhere. Like now
Totally.
they can put their kids into a private school or you know, whatever it is. It's like
Yeah.
they're like, oh, I can do my hair and pedicures every month, or you know, it's like, but it adds up.
There are things that add up that are like sneaky. Like if you have a car, you're doing home visits, like your car is going to need to be serviced. You might even need a better car, gas for that. Like the, you know, I think midwives who have like 5 clients a month, it's like you have to do self-care.
Yeah,
or
and
you're
then
gonna
maybe it's not
fall
always
apart.
5 clients a month, but I think like
Sure, but I would say anything over, honestly, anything over 3 clients a month on your own, like you're gonna be doing need to do some self-care. You're gonna burn out.
yeah,
you
it's gonna
know.
be a lot.
But like just talking about the delegating too, like that costs money, you
Yeah,
know, to
totally.
delegate that out, you know.
And the idea is like, even if you are spending money each month on social media, advertising, whatever, like if you get 1 client from that effort, you're making your money.
Yeah.
And more.
Yeah.
You know, so it's like, it's just a matter of that consistency of getting clients. But yeah, it's like with a biller, like there are things that I did on my own for a long time when I was early in my practice that I just don't do anymore because I'm terrible at it. Like I don't even interact. I mean, I give the biller the super bill, but I'm just like, here's her number. I
Yeah.
have nothing to do with it. Like I know that you have a thing where you like they pay you and then you pay the person, or there's a percentage, or it used to be. I remember I talked to your biller person. It was a different. I don't know. Mine, I literally just give them her website and that's the end of it.
Yeah.
Because I just am terrible at it.
Yeah.
I'm not good at that stuff. And
Yeah, it's interesting to try and figure out where, like, in this class, you know, they're having us think through, like, how are you going to structure your business, which is helpful and also kind of like hard to do because it's so hypothetical still
yeah,
for
it's
me.
abstract.
But like, you know, a lot of people are like thinking about all those people that they're going to hire or whatever. And it seems hard when you don't have any clients to imagine quote unquote building a business. And because like in my mind, I'm like, well, I guess I'm just going to like graduate and like, you know, be my friends' midwives for a little while, like, and assist people. And I don't think I'm going to have a social media person or a biller or a, you know, someone doing my taxes or like, I don't know.
But you can think of it in stages. And so Leah and I work with a financial advisor. That was another person I invested in like stage 2 or stage 3 or whatever I'm at. Was a financial advisor where we set goals together and made plans, and she created like business budgets because I did personal budgets but not business budgets. And because I was in this flow where it's like I have a bunch of money, so I would replenish all my supplies and then there goes the money. And you know, so we would have like a goal for the year, like I remember one year it was like I like 2 clients on average a month. That would be my goal for the year. And so we would have like 3 tiers where it's like the goal is the middle tier. Like if I got 2 clients a month, this is what I could spend on XYZ, and this is what my income would be. And then the tier down from that would be if I got less than that, like if I got 1 client. And then the tier up would be if I'm doing way better than I even expected and I got 3 clients a month, you know. And so I'd have these different tiers and like goals, like, okay, if I'm falling into this bracket, because we check in every 3 months, like where are you? Like have you switched tiers one way or another? And if I was falling into brackets, then I had certain goals that I could meet. Like I want to, if I stay in this bracket for 6 months, I want to hire a social media person or whatever it is, you know. So I just like set different goals, because it wasn't like I got my license and then I hired all these people to help me. I was just like trying to get clients, you know.
I feel like I've known midwives who, when they start, they just start out that way, and it's probably because they have some financial fund assistance from a partner or whatever reason. But they like start out and get an escort, and they have a media person, and they have a, you know, like just like marketing is their thing from the get-go. And
Totally.
how or they do that, that's totally, and it's, if you can do that, that's a great way to do it. A lot more people I know, and what I did is like that, just like piece, like along the way, having somebody do the things that you can't do, or that it would, your time would be better served.
Because if you
something
only
else.
have 2 clients the first year, you have plenty of time to do social media
Yeah.
stuff, It got to a point where I'm like, I don't have time for this anymore. And that was when I knew I was busy enough to hire somebody to take it off my plate.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Or like I couldn't keep up with it on my own. Like before, like the bookkeeping and all that, it wasn't that big of a deal. But then it was, and it was way too time consuming.
I think it's great though that your school has any kind of business thing.
Yeah,
I don't
ours
know if,
did not.
Yeah, I don't know if NMI does now, if they changed it. I mean, it was a while ago that I was there, so but at that point, it was definitely like, no, like this is a way
Do you know?
to successfully
So
have a
far.
business, or like, it's sort of like when you're a kid and you learn things in school, but you don't learn like how to do a budget or taxes or like, like life skills. So it's cool that MCU does that.
Well, that's like, I'm always trying to plug MCU, even though sometimes they're a pain in the ass. But I do feel like at this point, from all of the other people I talk to, I feel like it's the most well put together program. It takes a little longer, or it could take a little longer, but it's so comprehensive, and I definitely feel like prepared. Like I feel like I have everything, all the documents that I need in that way. Like it's like obviously there's things that it can't prepare me for, but in terms of like all my practice guidelines and my informed consents, and I know that the other schools do that, but for some reason I feel like MCU
it's
is a
just
little
more
bit more
structured, which I think for some people is really great. It doesn't work for everybody. It's like, I think parents and things like that, it's easier to have like your own timeline. But yeah, I mean, when people ask me what schools I recommend, because they do all the time, it's like, it just depends on what your life is like. But MCU, if you can do it, it's great school.
And I know we were talking because there were like 17 births that you attended that you just couldn't even count because you weren't in that point in school. And so we have come to the conclusion that if you're in MCU, you should start at a home birth practice, do your observes, do your cis, and once you're ready for primary role, then go to a birth center and crank them out.
That's what a lot of people do.
That's what I
Clover
asked.
did it backwards.
I did it backwards. Yeah, I was talking to my partner's little sister. Her name's Simone, and she is also a student at MCU, and she's more at the beginning of her midwifery journey. But
that's cute.
Yeah, she's very sweet. She's actually going to come to Skills, I think, because she's in the Bay right now. Anyway, shout out Simone.
Hi, Simone.
Anyways, yeah, she was just like, would you do anything differently? And I would say, yeah, I would do a home birth practice first, because I really enjoyed being at the birth center in the beginning, because it was just like so much experience at once, until I got to the threshold where I was past, I'd done all my assist birth, I needed to start doing my primary births, and MCU wouldn't let me count them. Yeah, so there's those 17 births, and now I'm like scrambling to get my last.
Yeah,
because you theoretically are done.
Because it's like theoretically I've done more than I need for norm, but alas, I'm not going to dwell on it. It's either going to work out
under your
or not.
belt, when you go into your own practice, you can even say that, like.
And that's why we were saying if you had switched it, you would have all those experiences under your belt, but not be held up from graduating, just be getting more experience.
Yeah, totally. But I do feel like it has helped me on some level to have the birth center experience. Just like when I interviewed with other midwives, I felt like in my primary phase, they were like, oh, you have a lot of experience. Like, you know how to do this, this, and this. And that was helpful. But I think that you can figure that out either way.
Yeah. Well, and I think if you start at a home birth, they know that you're in your observe and assist phase, that they're not expecting you to have done all those things.
Totally. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, who knows? We'll see. Yeah, pray for me, everyone. And I should take the NARM.
We have a lot of people that are finishing up. Like Nina, hopefully, will be close behind. I think once you and Chelsea aren't in the practice anymore, Nina's going to be the only assist. So we're hoping that we like really bust it out for her.
Yeah.
And Angela is our newer one, so she'll be there, but she'll be in the assist role.
Yeah. What has school been like for you so far? Because you're in NMI.
Yeah, I'm in NMI, and it's it's modules and independent work, and there's online study groups to help work through modules, but it's kind of independent. I wish there was a little bit more actual teaching and classes to go to instead of just being all self-directed. But on the other hand, you know, I'm older, and so it's nice to not have to be somewhere at a certain time and to be able to do schoolwork whenever it works for me, which might not be when they have classes or whatever, because I have 2 little kids at home, and well, they're not little, they're in school, but so I mean, it's slow going, but I feel like I'm producing the modules or getting them submitted, but in the time I wanted to, but I haven't gotten any graded ones back since May. So I'm
It's a different pace.
Yeah.
You're like, it's self-paced for you and for the instructors.
Yeah. Supposedly they just hired
That's
2 or 3
feedback.
more graders, so there won't be like a 6-month turnaround, because I think I'm waiting on like 5 to be graded.
Yeah, because if you
So.
should be doing it differently, it'd be good to know before you're
Right.
doing all these other ones. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm just doing about 1 a month, but there's people who do like 1 a week, which that's not how my brain works. Like in order to retain any of the information I'm learning, I need to take longer with the module.
Which is probably partially why you chose the school, so you could go at your own pace, you know.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, I could talk about a couple births we have of interest. We had somebody hire us last minute, like 37 weeks. I think the day she talked to me, I was like, well, I go on call for you tomorrow, so we should meet up. She was like almost 2 hours away, so we met up on Zoom. We tried to meet in person a couple times, and I got 10 minutes away from her. She's 10 minutes away from me, and I had to turn around and go to a birth. So, and then I was like almost up near her, but she couldn't meet me. It was just like not happening. So, but it was sweet when we were at her birth. She had this whole like setup with like all these snacks for
Oh my
the
God, she was
midwives.
so sweet.
She was like hosting us.
She was hosting us, which was like sweet and totally unnecessary for any clients listening. I feel like there's often, even in prenatal visits, like where you make a snack plates, like we love that, and it's
beautiful.
so sweet. And also like we don't need it.
Like Leah says, we just kind of come in like teenagers or
during the
college
birth,
kids.
we just like come in and go through the fridge and we'll do laundry.
Grab snacks,
It's your laundry, but
We'll do our own laundry.
we lay on the couch.
That was really good.
We do all our laundry. Honestly,
bring
I could
our
use
laundry.
somewhere to do my laundry.
But yeah, it was really sweet, and she even had like a plant there for each of us. Like
Literally gave us a
lilies.
calla lily to take home.
And her
Wow.
daughter is 6, and she was just like, here's your chocolates and here, and we didn't like eat enough at the birth because it was so quick that she was like cramming all the food in my postpartum
Yeah, she's
bag.
like packing all the
daughter.
snacks to go.
Aww.
There were even like cups and bowls in there when I opened it.
Oh my God.
So cute.
That's really sweet.
Yeah, but the daughter wanted to catch the baby.
Mhm.
And then when the baby was crowning, she was like shaking her head, no, like, no, I don't want to catch. So the dad caught.
Dad caught is very sweet.
Mhm.
Baby had some dips in the heart tones like in the few minutes before when we were listening, and we had just kind of gotten there, and I think we were there for like 45 minutes before the baby came.
Oh, actually, another very important part of the story before we even get there.
Oh yeah. So
Sophia learned a lesson.
yeah, don't do this.
Don't do this.
Tobin was like, how did this happen to Sophia?
Wait, what? I don't hear about this.
She ran out of gas.
I ran out of
10
gas.
minutes away
5
from the
minutes.
client's house.
5 minutes away. Luckily, there are some areas where you don't have cell service too. And I called Clover, and she was 50 minutes away, 50. And I was like, nope. And so I called the dad.
Because the client had texted us a photo of some bloody show. This was a multip, like with some very significant bloody show, and contractions were like, I don't know, Q5 or something. And we were like,
Right.
oh, okay.
Time
like,
to be there.
time to be there.
Yeah. And we had a long drive. So anyways, I called the dad. Luckily, it was really close. He came and got me in all my bags. And theoretically, I could have waited for you because you totally made it, but I just needed to be there. But it's
Surprised
this,
you didn't walk.
it's this ongoing thing between me and my husband where he's like, you're going to need gas soon. He's just like really on top of gas. Like, we're going to need gas soon. You should get your oil change, you know, done. And I'm like, I got time, you know? And I'm like, I can definitely get to Petaluma and back, no problem on empty. Like, I know that to be true because I've done it before.
Yeah.
But now I know that I cannot get that far on empty.
You can't go all the way to Lake County.
Yes, and I know what happens to my car when it runs out of gas now is that it goes into neutral and you coast for as long as you can, and then the whole thing turns off. So that's what happens. Anyways, my car went on empty yesterday, and I was like, gas station right here. So yeah, I try to tell, like, my recommendation to students is don't go below half. Like, just keep your tank halfway full of gas.
What? You've never said that to me.
No, I'm telling you that right now.
This is a new
This
piece
This
of
is a new
advice.
thing. This is a new thing I've decided as of today.
My truck, my beautiful, beautiful truck, does this thing where like the gas gauge kind of like, dances a little bit. So like when you
fun.
first fill it up and you're driving, it like takes a minute for it to go all the way up to show like how much
Yeah.
gas you have. And a few times it's like been almost on empty, and I'm like, okay, I can do this. And then it just like listens to me. It's like, yeah.
Oh,
And then the little needle goes up a little bit, like almost to a quarter tank.
Wow.
It's like, I think my truck is the reincarnate of somebody. Like, like they came back as a 99 Tacoma.
This
And it loves
conversation
me.
is going nowhere.
It's going
It's
nowhere.
done.
Okay,
no,
maybe we should
but
stop.
it is important to say that I was that was so irresponsible. But I was like pushing it. I was like, I cannot stop for gas. She needs me. I have to go. That was in my head. Like, I'll just get it when I get there. I just need to get there, kind of thing. But no, I should have stopped. And also, it was really embarrassing to have to like call a dad away from his laboring woman. And like, it was horrible.
Tobin
I felt
was
horrible.
saying, he was like, that makes me think that you should just have a thing of gas in
Yeah.
your
All the
car. He was
time.
like, it just makes sense, and like especially if you're doing home birth and you're driving far distances, because that I've definitely like, when we had a client who was in Jenner, there was like some drives where I was like, fuck, we're like in
Mhm.
Jenner again, and I like
There's
the
no
gas stations are like so
Yeah.
far apart.
Mhm. Yeah,
But anyways, we were there for like probably about an hour
before the baby.
before the baby was born, and yeah. Oh, I was saying that there had been like a little dip in the heart rate, and we hadn't gotten that many times to listen because we just weren't there that long, and so I think there was like probably not Sophia, but me, because I still have a lot of unlearning to do. I was like, okay, how's this baby gonna do? All of our supplies were in the other room, so I went and got the like emergency bag and just had it in there with the bag and mask, and
We were laughing because she's like, I brought you all the supplies that you never use, even when there's an
yeah, I was like,
emergency.
Chelsea was saying, she's like, what did you think Sophia was gonna do with that? I was like, you're right, good point.
She's like,
I was like, it was my safety blanket.
the last
Somebody
resuscitation.
didn't see it in the corner.
The last resuscitation, Chelsea's like, I remember, I feel like we handed you the bag and mask, and my image is probably not accurate, but I felt like you just threw it across the room.
I think that actually like literally happened, though.
But sometimes I just, with mouth to mouth, I just feel way more connected with the baby, and with the bag and mask, I'm like, fuck this thing, like, get it out of my way.
Yeah.
I learned with mouth to mouth, and I almost
It's my
never use the
go-to.
bag. I know it's
Yeah.
not. I mean, you're basically kissing someone's vagina
Yeah.
when you do that, but whatever.
I mean, in
It's
a
just
life and
easier.
death situation,
It's easier.
yeah, totally. I mean, and like I think there are a few situations where you're really gonna get, because I feel like the bag and mask makes a lot of sense if you have a recess board. If you have a baby in
That's
a
the
recess
time I've
board,
used
it
it.
feels nice and
If it's a
stable.
longer resuscitation,
But it's like
Yeah.
if you're
more
holding a
sustainable.
baby above a tub, you're not
Yes.
going to grab the recess board, and it doesn't make sense to do bag and mask because they're
Yeah.
too floppy. So it's like it's true that
Like,
I
the
think that-
time I'd used the bag and mask was when we had like meconium maceration syndrome. In hindsight, we knew, and we were waiting for EMS, we were transporting, and like baby was present but was just like not coming around fully, and so we were just waiting on EMS, and it was great setup because they were like, this is perfect, we will just take this all with us when we go. They took over with the baby stayed on the resuscitator with the bag and mask, and they just like transferred care. So
yeah. But anyways, baby came out crying. It was beautiful. There was really
Mhm.
nothing that needed to happen.
it was kind of a longer weight on the
Oh, it was
body.
a little bit of a longer weight on the head, which is something, or on the body, yeah. That's something that I've been saying is helpful for me to see,
Mhm.
just because in the practice that I've previously been at, it's like when a head comes out, we were always checking for shoulder and cord, and there was a lot of hands on the perineum and the woman's vulva, and there was a lot of like, if there was any weight, if there was one contraction pass and the head didn't come, it was a shoulder dystocia, and so it's like, it's really helpful to just see like the baby's head came, and it was obvious that they were doing okay because they were like moving around and kind of grimacing and like
Even crying, making
Yeah.
a like cry effort.
and then they came. So yeah,
And Dad caught. He's very excited. About
yeah,
that.
Dad caught.
Mhm.
Yeah, it was really beautiful,
Mhm.
really straightforward. She didn't tear, and
And how was she postpartum?
she was like she was quote unquote ambulating well.
She was up like cooking breakfast for
She
the whole
was like
family,
jumping
right?
around, got in the shower. She literally like sprung from laying down to hands and knees to like show me something, and I was like, whoa, like I can't do that. Like if I was laying in bed, like I'm not that sprightly, so we weren't worried about her.
Just goes to show women
Yeah.
are pretty resilient.
It was
Yeah.
so great. And then the one before that, it was mom having her 6th baby, and the last birth had been a loss at 20 weeks, but the one before that had been 45 minutes long. So we were like, okay, I'm gonna go as soon as you need me. And I missed the birth by 10 minutes, even though they're 20 minutes away. But the dad was like, that was my fault. She told me to call you, and I think I waited 10 minutes to call you.
So you would have actually been there at the moment of the birth.
Yeah, but it was fine. It was beautiful, and everything was straightforward with them. This one was kind of interesting. We had a second-time mom with a very large uterine fibroid. She had it with her first pregnancy. It was larger this time, but her first pregnancy was 12 hours, straightforward, uneventful. Baby came no problem.
Wait, I just want to say that this client that you're talking about and the client that we were talking about who had a smooth birth where your car died, like both of them were clients that you took as a la carte.
Yes.
So they weren't doing prenatal care with you,
Mhm.
and you were just doing that for the birth.
Mhm.
And I just think that's interesting to mention, because I feel like a lot of midwives don't do that. They're not willing to take you if you haven't done prenatal care with them. And both of them were beautiful and smooth. And not to say that there couldn't be complications in those situations, but I just felt like in both cases it was a really sweet connection with the family.
Both of them.
Yeah,
We were just like,
and it felt so
at home.
sweet to like be like building a relationship in labor. I don't know.
Hmm.
I just was like, I could see why someone wouldn't want to do it, but I felt like those two cases were an argument for why that can be beautiful and makes midwifery care more accessible. And people love to talk about how they want to make midwifery care more accessible, but they're not willing to do something like that. And it's like, if someone's getting prenatal, I mean, even if you want to be conservative about it and say like, I'll take you if you get prenatal care somewhere else. Like one of them was getting prenatal care at a birth
Which
center.
both of them were.
Yeah, so it's like, I could understand why you might not want to. It might be a little bit more sticky if someone's had zero prenatal care, but I'm sure that Sophia would still take that on. But yeah, anyways, I just thought that was sweet.
I've encouraged it even.
Yeah, we take people that do wild pregnancies.
Yeah. But yeah, it's true. For anybody listening, just for like full disclosure, I started offering an a la carte service mainly for families who were contacting me who were way outside of my range, that I would not be willing to do full care because the postpartums would just kill me alone. How many times you go back and see them, and the weekly prenatals, and it's just like I couldn't have worked with them, but they were having trouble finding a midwife that they could connect with or is willing to practice in the way that they wanted to be taken care of. And so then I started going, well, what if I just charged you for the birth? And we met on Zoom a few times, to get to know each other, and like what would that look like. And so that's why I started doing this like a la carte. And then I also was helping families who free birth, like get birth certificates, and so I was charging for like paperwork and that kind of stuff. So I started piecing together like an a la carte type service. And not that it's an option for everyone, but when a typical standard home birth service doesn't work for me because of location or whatever, that I'm able to offer this up to families. So yes, these last couple have been.
And so that one that was the family whose the mom had a large uterine fibroid, she just had kind of like a funny second time labor pattern where we thought there was an opposition, we spent the night, her labor kind of slowed down in the night, labor would like pick up and then kind of slow back down. I feel like for most of the labor, the contractions were somewhere between like 8 and 15 minutes apart. They never got really close together until like the last second, which was like the last 30 minutes, like right as we were kind of getting ready to start an IV, talk about doing the mile circuit again, we were like, okay, we're prepping for the night.
Like this is going to be a long night, and we need to keep her morale up.
And contractions at that point were every 10 minutes, and they were like 30
Was it
seconds.
lower uterine segment fibroids?
Yes.
Yeah.
And her blood pressure was a little bit high at that point. She was very dehydrated, and baby was a little bit tacky. Like it just
Yeah.
started getting a little tacky. So we're like, let's get this IV in you. Maybe that will kind of
Mhm.
simmer everything out.
And then like right as that was all going down,
and she was having really long contractions.
she was
at that
having
point.
super long contractions, like 3 minutes.
Was she
And we were
ruptured?
like, yeah, she was ruptured. And we're like, oh, this is just like, it felt funky.
It's a
And
weird
like,
pattern.
then like as we were getting the IV set up, it was like she went into transition. And she was
Yeah.
basically like, I need to get in the tub.
She said, I feel weird.
Yeah,
I
she
need
was
to
like,
get in the
I
tub."
feel weird, I need to get in the tub. And I think it was probably like 20 minutes later.
And then
that
she
the
just
baby was
started
born.
pushing.
But it was like contractions were Q10 until she started pushing,
Mhm.
which I was just like, that was an interesting thing to see.
Mhm.
Yeah. So we were all very relieved when she started pushing.
Nice. Yeah, she just was waiting for.
Yeah. And the
The
baby
baby
just kind of hung out at
to
the
be
bottom of
ready.
the pool for a
Oh
little
my
bit.
god, that was epic. Like the baby birthed into the pool, and then the baby was just like little starfish, kind of like floating
Floated around in the water because I refuse to let any of my students or myself touch babies unless necessary. So I was like, whenever you're ready, someone should pick the baby up.
I cannot hang with that. I'm sorry. I just.
In my head, I'm like, they literally have been in water their entire life. They're not going to drown in this moment. You
I
know, it's
but
not
I
like
always
we
wonder
leave
if the
babies
change
there.
of temperature, like, or something like that, because it's not the same. I mean, the baby knows
But
that
you
they're not
see
in the
it. I
womb.
mean, you haven't seen that over and over again, but I have, and like, it's no different.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's necessarily dangerous. I was at a birth one time where somebody like felt really strongly about that, like they wanted to keep the baby in the water for a little while. But when the baby came out, I mean, it was stunned, which it was fine. Like I think we did a couple inflation breaths, so everything was fine.
Yeah.
So in the end, you make your decision. But I was like, that baby was on no dope. It was just like wiggling in the water. It made me uncomfortable. I was like, honey, welcome your baby.
Well, and I think there's a difference of a baby like
Outside of the
who
birth
doesn't
pool.
look well already.
Right,
Like this
right.
baby looked fine.
I
you
find
know?
most moms like want their prize.
Mhm.
Mhm.
You know, like the baby's out and they like want to pick up
The
the baby.
two that I've seen that really did not ever pick their babies up, the dads ended up doing it, and they just like both were needing a minute to themselves.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I feel like when you're on hands and knees in the birth pool too, it gets like a little bit like complicated of turning around and cord and all that.
Yeah,
So,
Yeah.
But yeah, it was really
I just-
beautiful.
I can think of a birth where a baby shot out and it took a minute to find the baby. Remember that?
Yes.
Yes. Anyway, maybe we should wrap it up. Are we
Yeah, that was good.
a few different topics in there?
No.
Yeah, we'll have to figure out what to call this one.
Yeah.
What are you gonna title this one?
All right, thank you everyone for listening, and we'll chat next time.
We'll be at the spa next week, so
yeah.
it'll be
All
something.
right, spas next week.
Thanks everybody for listening. You can find us at Born Wild Podcast on Instagram. For inquiries or feedback, you can email us at bornwildpodcast@gmail.com. You can find me, Emma Ray, on Instagram at Emma Ray, REA. Sophia at sophiabirth.com.
And me, Leah, at Bay Area Home Birth.
We would really appreciate it if you would rate and review us on Apple Podcasts. It helps us reach more people. And as always, stay wild.